Alright, Shalom, giving all praise, honor and glory unto Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that rule well. Shalom to you, Akim, teaching this word around the globe in faith and in truth and sincerity. As always, I'd like to start by saying this is the brother Caleb from the GMS London Forecasters Camp. We are the real Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, West Indians, West Africans predominantly. So I'm just setting this up. However, you are going to get Israelites that do look like the other nations, because Israel has been scattered amongst all people throughout our various captivities. But if your seed line by your forefathers goes back to the man in the Bible that was named Israel, then you too are an Israelite, no matter what you may look like. Because the book of Numbers, chapter 1 and verse 18 states that your nationality is determined by the lineage of your forefathers. Okay? So I'm going to do a lesson here, again, flowing in the spirit. Following on from the lesson I did yesterday in regards to how your emotions can be an opportunity for demons to attack you. If you basically allow yourself to become subject to your own emotions, basically that's an opportunity for demons to come in and start tap dancing on your brain and making you feel all kinds of shit. Now, I was meditating on this subject further today, and I thought of a good example of what I'm talking about, which is found in the scriptures. So I'm going to go into Matthew, the 16th chapter. Let me just get this here. Matthew, the 16th chapter and the 20th verse. So this is Matthew chapter 16 and verse 20, and it reads, this is Yahushua speaking. It says, then he charged his disciples that they should tell no man that he was Yahushua HaMashiach. From this time forth began Yahushua to shew unto his disciples how that he must go into Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed and raised again the third day. Then Peter took him and began to rebuke him, saying, be it far from thee, Lord, that this shall not be unto thee. But he turned and said unto Peter, get thee behind me, Satan. Thou art an offence unto me, for thou savourest not the things that be of the Most High, but those that be of men. Then Yahushua said unto his disciples, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it. Let me continue, because there's some good stuff here. It says, verse 26, for what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? For the Son of Man shall come in the glory of his Father with his angels. Then he shall reward every man according to his works. Verily I say unto you, there be some standing here which shall not taste of death until they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. Now the fact of the matter, or the point I wanted to bring up here, is that in verse 22, let me read this again and get to the point. Matthew 16 verse 20. Then he charged his disciples that they should tell no man that he was Yahushua HaMashiach. From that time forth began Yahushua to shew unto his disciples how that he must go into Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed and be raised again the third day. So basically Yahushua is telling his disciples prophecy of what was supposed to take place in the shortcoming future of Yahushua, that he's going to be, betrayed by Judas. Well, he didn't tell them he's going to be betrayed by Judas, but he's going to be betrayed, that he's going to be taken up to the chief priests and the elders, and then before Pontius Pilate, then to be scourged, and then to be crucified, and then to die, and then to be raised on the third day. Now Peter came in and said, then Peter took him and began to rebuke him. So Peter was like, what's this? Peter took him and began to rebuke him, saying, be it far from thee, Lord, this shall not be unto thee. So basically Peter, he was being simple and he was being carnal. Because basically he was thinking with his flesh, because he loved Yahushua. He was thinking, nah, this can't be so. But what Peter was doing is he was going against the will of the Most High, which means a demon jumped on Peter and started speaking through Peter's flesh. Yeah, which is why Yahushua said the following. Then Yahushua, no. But then verse 23, but then he turned and said unto Peter, get thee behind me, Satan. Yeah? So you rebuke Peter, says, get thee behind me, Satan. Thou art an offence unto me, for thou savourest not the things that be of the Most High, but those that be of men. Now the reason why I'm saying this is because sometimes people can come up to you and they can be speaking to you and they don't realise that it's a demon on them that's making them do the things that they're doing. They're probably doing it in all good conscience, you know, thinking that they're doing the right thing, but you can't offset prophecy, man. You can't offset prophecy. That's why Yahushua rebuked Peter, because Satan jumped on him to make him say that to Yahushua, which was basically trying to put doubt in Yahushua's mind about his purpose and his walk and what Yahweh had ordained for him to do. That's what Peter was doing. He's basically saying, no, you can't. It's not right for you to, you know, go up there and to be killed and all this kind of stuff. There must be some other way. That was a demon speaking through Peter to Yahushua, and Yahushua had to rebuke his ass, man. And it's the same thing in the world when people might come up to you and they'll say things to you thinking that, oh yeah, well, you know, they're doing good, but if they're going against the will of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua, they're not doing good. They're not doing good. They're actually trying to sow seeds of doubt in your mind to make you then question what your role or what your position or what you should be doing is. And, you know, it's a very, very subtle thing. And again, if you're carnal minded, you won't see it. If you're spiritually minded, you'll be able to see it and think, hang on a minute, what's really going on here? And you'll be able to see through certain things, because it can happen to anybody. You know, anybody can, it's like, this truth is kind of like the film The Matrix, where, you know how you've got the agents, they jump into different people who are not unplugged from the Matrix. It's the same with demons. They can jump into anybody at any time. So the person who you might be talking to, all of a sudden a demon might jump on them and then they say something. But if you're spiritually minded, you'll be able to clock that. You'll be like, hang on a minute. Is that person speaking, or is it a demon that's jumped on them to make them say that in order to put doubt in me, to make me question my walk and question my faith? This is the thing. These are the aspects of spiritual warfare. You need to be able to defend yourself spiritually against these types of attacks, because if you don't defend yourself against these types of attacks, and if you let these things seep into your head, all that's going to happen is it's going to start eroding away at your faith, destroying your confidence, and basically putting you in a position where then you are in danger of falling out of this truth. And basically, that's the worst thing that can happen to you. If you fall out of this truth, then that's your ass. You know what I'm saying? That's your ass. So you've got to work to defend your faith. You've got to work to stop these spiritual attacks coming at you. And if you ain't got no defenses, you're going to get hit. So you need to learn, okay, block there, parry there, dodge that, duck that. You know, don't get caught up in this stuff, you know. Don't get caught up, and the way to do that is to always meditate on the scriptures. And if they speak not according to this word, it's because there is no light in them. Let me get that. This is Isaiah chapter 8 and verse 20. It says, to the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. Now, the fact of the matter is that, was Peter a wicked person? No. Peter wasn't wicked at all. It's just that at that point in time, in his walk, he didn't really understand what he was fully involved in at that point. Like many of the disciples, they didn't really understand what they were involved in until after Yahushua had been caught, crucified, and then resurrected. And then Yahushua came back and talked to them for a little while before being taken up into the chariot in Acts 1, verse 7 through 10. But they didn't really understand what they were fully involved in until they saw the Lord be crucified and then raised again on the third day. So at that point in Peter's walk, he was thinking carnally. That's what allowed Satan to jump on him. And there's other precepts. Let me get that. Let me get this. Satan has desired to sift you as wheat. Yeah. This is Luke. This is Luke, the 22nd chapter and the 31st verse. And the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. But I have prayed for thee, that thy faith fail not. And when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren. So when was Peter converted? Because at that time, Satan was desiring to have Peter, and Peter was still a bit carnal-minded. He was a bit simple. Let me get into the account when... let me continue on this, actually. Let me start again. Luke 22:31. And the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. But I have prayed for thee, that thy faith fail not. And when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren. And he said unto him, Lord, I am ready to go with thee, both into prison and to death. So at that point in time, Peter didn't really understand. He didn't really understand. And through his flesh, through his emotions, he said, Lord, I'm ready to die with you and to go to prison with you. But Yahushua said to him, and he said, I tell thee, Peter, the cock shall not crow this day before... Let me start again. And he said, I tell thee, Peter, the cock shall not crow this day before that thou shalt thrice deny me, that thou knowest me. You know? So basically he says to Peter that the cock's not going to crow until you've denied me 3 times. Yeah? And at that point in time, Peter was like, nah, I'm not going to deny you, Lord. I'm ready to ride or die for you, Lord. But Peter wasn't really understanding at that point what he was fully involved in. And he had to be tried through the Spirit. And that trial came in the following verses. So let me go further. Yeah, let me go into this. Yeah. Right, so let me start from Luke 22 verse 39. It says, and he came out and went as he went into the Mount of Olives, and his disciples also followed him. So Yahushua went into the Mount of Olives. And when he was at the place, he said unto them, pray that ye enter not into temptation. And he was withdrawn from them about a stone's cast, and he kneeled down and prayed, saying, Father, if it be willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done. So basically, Yahushua was terrified. And that time when Peter tried to come up to Yahushua saying, no, it shouldn't be so that you should be killed, and Yahushua had to rebuke Satan, that was a heavy spiritual attack against Yahushua, because Yahushua already feared what he had to go through. So when Peter's saying, there's got to be some other way, that's another psychological spiritual attack. That's why Yahushua had to rebuke him and say, get thee behind me, Satan. Because it was a very difficult thing that Yahushua had to go through. And he knew it. So he was praying to the Father that this cup might be removed from him. But nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done. And there appeared unto him, and there appeared an angel unto him from heaven, strengthening him. So Yahweh sent down an angel to help comfort Yahushua, but he didn't change his will. Yahweh didn't change his will. What Yahweh's will was that Yahushua had to go on that cross and die for the sins of Israel, and for his sins that he committed in his previous incarnations. Continuing on. And being in agony, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat was as it were great drops of blood falling down to the ground. So he was so scared that he was sweating blood. And when he rose up from prayer, he was come to his disciples and he found them sleeping for sorrow. And he said unto them, Why sleep ye? Rise and pray, lest ye enter into temptation. And while he yet spake, behold, a multitude, and he that was called Judas, one of the 12, went before them, and drew near unto Yahushua to kiss him. But Yahushua said unto him, Judas, betrayest thou the Son of Man with a kiss? And when they which were about him saw what would follow, they said unto him, Lord, shall we smite with the sword? And one of them smote and the servant of the high priest and cut off his right ear. Now that was Peter. So Peter, trying to defend his Lord, smote off the ear of the servant of the high priest. I believe his name was Malchus. So this shows you that Peter was still thinking carnally. He wasn't thinking about the bigger picture, because at that point in time he didn't understand the full magnitude of what was really going on. And this, naturally, he was in the flesh. So he smote off the servant of the high priest's ear. And Yahushua answered and said, Suffer ye thus far. And he touched his ear and healed him. And Yahushua said unto the chief priests and the captains of the temple and the elders which were come to him, Be ye come out against as a thief with swords and staves? When I was daily with you in the temple, ye stretched forth no hands against me, but this is your hour and the power of darkness. Then they took him and led him and brought him into the high priest's house, and Peter followed afar off. And when they had kindled a fire in the midst of the hall, they were set down together, and Peter sat among them. But a certain maid beheld him as he sat by the fire, and earnestly looked upon him, and said, This man was also with him. And he denied him, saying, Woman, I know him not. So basically, Peter denied the Lord. And he had already said, I'm not going to deny you, Lord. But Yahushua said to him, before the cock crows, you're going to deny me 3 times. Peter never thought in a million years that he would deny the Lord. But guess what? Prophecy had to be fulfilled. So it continues on. After a little while, another saw him and said, Thou art also of them. And Peter said, Man, I am not. So Peter lied again. That's 2 times Peter lied. And about the space of 1 hour after another, confidently affirming, saying, Of a truth, this fellow was also with him, for he is a Galilean. And Peter said, Man, I know not what thou sayest. And immediately while he yet spake, the cock crew. Yeah. And the Lord turned and looked upon Peter, and Peter remembered the word of the Lord, how he said unto him, Before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice. And Peter went out and wept bitterly. Yeah? Now this is important to understand, because Peter never thought that Satan would jump on him like that to make him deny the Lord. But prophecy had to be fulfilled. And it's only after those failings, those shortcomings, that Peter realized, you know what, man? I'm not the man I thought I was. I'm not the man I thought I was. And he had to reflect upon himself. And it's these shortcomings that made Peter start to understand really what he was involved in. Because after that, Yahushua was crucified and died. And the disciples were, naturally, who wouldn't be messed up by that? Who wouldn't be messed up by that? But I'm going to go into another scripture here. Book of Matthew. I believe it's Matthew. Let me just check. Matthew 28, maybe? Yeah. No, it's not Matthew 28 I want. It might be Mark. No, it's not Mark. Luke. Yeah. All right. This is what I'm going to get to. So it says, I'm going to read from It's like I'm just finding where to start from. Right, let me start from Luke 24 verse 33. And they rose up the same hour and returned to Jerusalem, and found the 11 gathered together with them that were with them, saying, The Lord is risen indeed, and hath appeared to Simon Peter. And when they told what things were done in the way, and how he was known of them in the breaking of the bread, and as they thus spake, Yahushua himself stood in the midst of them, and saith unto them, Peace be unto you. And they were terrified and affrighted, and they supposed that they had seen a spirit. And he said unto them, Why are ye troubled? And why do thoughts arise in your hearts? Behold my hands and my feet, that it is I myself. Handle me, and see. For a spirit hath not flesh and bones, as ye see me have. And when he had thus spoken, he showed them his hands and his feet. And while they believed not for joy, and wondered, and he said unto them, Have ye not any meat? And they gave him a piece of broiled fish and a honeycomb. And he took it and did eat before them. And he said unto them, These are the words which I spake unto you while I was yet with you, that all things must be fulfilled, which are written in the law of Moses, in the prophets, and in the Psalms concerning me. Then he opened their understanding, that they might understand the scriptures. See, prior to that, the disciples, they knew little bits, but they didn't know the full depth of the truth. So it's only after Yahushua had passed and then was resurrected, he opened the disciples' understanding. Then he opened their understanding that they might understand the scriptures. And he said unto them, Thus it is written, thus it is behooved Hamashiach to suffer and to rise from the dead the third day, and the repentance that the repentance and remission of sins should be preached in his name among all nations, beginning at Jerusalem. And you are witnesses of these things. And behold, I send the promise of my Father upon you, but tarry ye in the city of Jerusalem till ye be endued with the power from on high, meaning the Holy Spirit. And he led them out as far as Bethany, and lifted up his hand and blessed them. And it came to pass, while he blessed them, he was parted from them and carried up into heaven. And they worshipped him and returned to Jerusalem with great joy, and were continually in the temple, praising and blessing the Most High. Amen. Now I want to jump to John again, this is going into how Peter was hurt over how he'd failed, or how he felt he'd failed the Lord. So this is John 21 verse 12. No. Yeah, John 21 verse 12. Yahushua saith unto them, Come and dine. And none of the disciples durst ask him, Who art thou? Knowing that he was the Lord. When Yahushua then cometh, and taketh bread, and giveth them, and the fish likewise. This was now the third time that Yahushua shewed himself to the disciples, and after that he was risen from the dead. So when they had dined, Yahushua saith to Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me more than these? He saith unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee. He saith unto him, Feed my lambs. He saith unto him again the second time, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? He saith unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee. He saith unto him, Feed my sheep. He saith unto him the third time, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? Peter was grieved, because he had said unto him the third time, Lovest thou me? And he said unto him, Lord, thou knowest all things. Thou knowest that I love thee. Yahushua said unto him, Feed my sheep. So basically, it was only after that Peter really understood what he was involved in. Prior to that, Peter was still thinking carnally. The time when he tried to say to Yahushua, nah, you shouldn't have to go up to Jerusalem to be, brought before the priests and killed and all this kind of stuff. He tried to talk Yahushua out of it. Peter thought he was doing a good thing. What Peter didn't realize is that Satan had jumped on him, and he was actually going against the will of the Most High. Likewise, when Yahushua is going to be arrested, Peter tried to draw his sword and fight carnally, again going against the will of the Most High, because it was the will of the Most High for Peter to go through those things. Now, the reason why I'm telling this is because, or doing this lesson is because you can't go against the will of the Most High, and we can't let our emotions get the better of us to where we start doing things which are contrary to what the will of the Most High is. And we do it without even knowing because we're caught up in our emotions. So this is why you've got to keep yourself in check and always keep kingdom-minded. You always got to be kingdom-minded and focused on, okay, what is the will of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua? It's not about how I feel. My emotions, they don't come into the equations. You don't give your emotions more play than they deserve. You know, right now it's all about getting this mission done, fulfilling the will of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. And if certain things have to happen in order for that will to be brought forth, then so be it. We have to go through that. Just like in the book of 2nd Ezra, you know. See if I can find this one. I think it's 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter, I believe. No, that's not what I want. 2nd Ezra's. Let me just find it. Yeah, here we go. It's the 2nd Ezra, the 7th chapter. 2nd Ezra, my leg's kind of playing up. 2nd Ezra is the 7th chapter and the 1st verse. And when I had made an end of speaking these words, there was sent unto me an angel, which had been sent unto me the nights afore. And he said unto me, Up, Ezra, and hear the words that I have come to tell thee. And I said, Speak on, my power. And he said unto me, The sea is set in a wide place, that it might be deep and great. But put were the case that the entrance were narrow like a river. Who could go into the sea to look upon it, and to rule it? If he went not through the narrow, how could he come unto the broad? There is also another thing. A city is builded, and set upon a broad field, and is full of all good things. The entrance thereof is narrow, and set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were a fire on the right hand, and on the left a deep water, and only one path between them both. It's lucky. And only one path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once. If this city were now given unto a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass through the dangers set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? You know? And I said, so, It is so, Lord. Then he answered me, Even so also is Israel's portion. You know? So basically, if you don't go through the difficulty, how can you enter into the joy? That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. Hope that makes sense. Lord willing, this has been an edifying lesson. Once again, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. B'Hashem Ruach HaKodesh, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who are well. Shalom to you, Ark, in pushing this word around the globe in faith and truth and in sincerity. And until the next time I'm able to do a lesson, Lord willing, I shall say shalom for now.